Did you know that we're 22 times more likely to remember information when it's told through a story rather than just stated as facts? It's true. Think about the last thing you learned that really stuck with you. Was it from a textbook? Or was it from a story someone told you? Maybe in a movie, a conversation, or even a song. Now imagine this. What if the secret to mastering English fluently, confidently, and naturally wasn't about studying harder, but about listening more deeply to stories? Stories aren't just entertainment, they're how humans are wired to understand the world. From our childhood bedtime tales to the epic movies we binge watch as adults, stories are how we remember, connect, and learn. And when it comes to learning English or any language, storytelling might be the most powerful method available. But why? Let's begin with a truth that many learners eventually discover. Learning English can feel overwhelming. You start with enthusiasm. You download apps, memorize vocabulary lists, follow grammar lessons, maybe even try to write your own sentences. But after a while, things start to feel mechanical. You learn a new word and then forget it. You study grammar rules, but you struggle to use them when speaking. You understand written English, but when someone speaks quickly, it all becomes a blur. There's also the issue of cultural context, something often ignored in traditional learning. English is more than grammar and vocabulary. It's full of expressions, idioms, tones, humor, references, and emotions. You may read, "It's raining cats and dogs," and think, "What does that even mean?" Or hear someone say, "That's lit," and feel confused because no textbook prepared you for that kind of language. These challenges build up, and eventually, many learners start to feel stuck, frustrated, or even defeated. But what if the solution isn't more grammar drills or vocabulary flashcards? What if the key is to immerse yourself in stories? Let's explore this together. There are many kinds of stories, and each offers something unique to language learners. Start with books. Reading fiction, even simple short stories, gives you exposure to sentence structures, natural language, and emotional depth. You're not just reading, you're experiencing the world through another person's perspective, understanding how characters speak, how they feel, and how their language evolves in different situations. Then there are movies and TV shows. These offer visual context and spoken language. You hear how people actually talk, how their tone changes when they're excited, nervous, or sarcastic. You start to recognize real world rhythm and pronunciation. And with subtitles, you can connect written and spoken English effortlessly. Podcasts and audiobooks bring another layer of richness. You train your ears to understand different accents, pacing, and ways of storytelling. Whether it's a crime podcast, a motivational speech, or a fictional drama, you're learning to follow and engage in English without even realizing it. You're not just practicing English, you're living it. There's something about stories that naturally draws us in. They make us feel, they make us care. And when we care, we remember. Imagine learning the word brave from a vocabulary list. Now imagine learning brave by reading about a character who risks everything to save someone they love. Which one will stay with you longer? Which one will connect to your heart? The answer is obvious. This method has transformed thousands of learners. Take, for example, Layla, a 28-year-old woman from Brazil. She spent years trying to learn English through traditional methods, grammar books, apps, even online tutors. But nothing stuck. She could read, but was too afraid to speak. Then she made a simple change. She started watching English series she loved, like Stranger Things and The Crown, with subtitles first, then without. She kept a notebook, not for grammar rules, but to jot down phrases that sounded natural or interesting. She then moved to podcasts. At first, it was hard, but she stuck with it. After 6 months, she noticed she wasn't translating in her head anymore. She started thinking in English. Her vocabulary expanded naturally. And for the first time, she could hold a real conversation without fear. The turning point? She had fallen in love with English, not as a subject, but as a living language full of emotion and story. Storytelling didn't just help her learn English, it made her want to use it. Then there's Samuel, a teenager from Nigeria who struggled to connect with formal English in school. The lessons felt cold, distant, unrelated to real life. Then one day, his uncle gave him an old copy of Harry Potter in English. He was hesitant at first, but curiosity won. He read slowly, often with a dictionary by his side. But he was hooked. He began to see patterns. The words became familiar. He laughed with the characters, cried with them. By the time he finished the last book, he wasn't just a fan, he had become fluent, all through story. And these stories aren't unique. Every day, people around the world are rediscovering the joy of learning through narrative. And this joy leads to success. Why? Because when we enjoy something, we do it more. And when we do it more, we learn faster, deeper, and more naturally. Let's look at how you can bring storytelling into your learning routine. Start with something small and enjoyable. Pick a short story in English, something you genuinely enjoy. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. Focus on the general meaning. Read it once, then again. Highlight phrases you like. Imagine yourself saying them. Try to retell the story in your own words. This active engagement helps you internalize the language. Next, choose a movie you've already seen in your native language, but watch in English. You already know the plot, so now you can focus on the language. First, use subtitles. Later, try without them. Notice how characters express themselves. Try repeating their lines aloud. You'll be amazed at how quickly you start to imitate natural rhythm and pronunciation. With podcasts, pick topics you care about: sports, mysteries, psychology, self improvement. At first, just listen. Later, try shadowing, repeating what the speaker says in real time. It's hard, yes, but incredibly effective. You're training your brain to think and speak simultaneously in English. And don't forget, you can even tell your own stories. Keep a journal in English. Write about your day. Tell a story from your childhood. Record yourself speaking. Don't worry about mistakes. Focus on expression. You're not writing an exam, you're building fluency. There's also a magic in reading out loud. It helps with pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence. Find a passage you like and read it aloud. Record it. Listen back. Adjust. This practice helps bridge the gap between passive understanding and active use. You can join storytelling communities online. There are YouTube channels, forums, and social media groups where people share short stories, personal anecdotes, and learning tips in English. You can read other stories, comment on them, and even submit your own. This sense of connection, of being part of a bigger story, motivates and enriches your journey. Storytelling also teaches cultural awareness. Through characters, settings, and plots, you learn how English speakers think, behave, and interact. You start to understand humor, sarcasm, politeness, and other subtle cues that textbooks often ignore. This makes you not just a better speaker, but a more empathetic communicator. And the best part? You could do all of this on your own schedule. At home, during a commute, before bed. No pressure, just stories and language growing together. It's important to remember that fluency is not perfection, it's expression. It's being able to share your thoughts, your ideas, your stories, even with mistakes. Stories remind us that language is human. It's messy, it's emotional, it's real. So give yourself permission to enjoy the process. Choose joy over judgment, curiosity over fear, progress over perfection. Because every time you read a story in English, you're not just learning new words, you're stepping into a world. You're walking in someone else's shoes. You're building empathy, imagination, and confidence. The more you do it, the more fluent you'll become. So ask yourself, what's a story you've always wanted to read in English? What movie have you watched a dozen times in your native language that you could now watch in English? What podcast could you start listening to today? Don't wait for perfect conditions. Start now. Let storytelling be your teacher, your guide, your motivator. And remember, your story matters too. Whether you're just starting out or already on your way, every word you learn, every sentence you speak, every mistake you make is part of a bigger journey. A story of growth, of resilience, of transformation. So tell it, live it, share it, because the best way to learn English is to live inside a great story.